if I'm saying something different, right? So when the police question me, they done question me every time they lock me up. I don't know how many times that was. I done told them whatever different story I could think of to try and finesse my way out of the situation. I don't recall what I have done told them. Ms. Hylton says, okay, so you can say I don't recall. When it comes to the legal system, if you guys look at some of the legal, just look at some of the laws in your own county, and I think it would surprise you. But just hearing Judge Glanville say this, but what the state decided is they said your testimony is worth more to them at this point in time, and they really want to know what you have to say. So they made a decision from the state's perspective. They made a decision to give you immunity, so you no longer can invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. You have to testify. So that's the difference in this particular scenario, is that they have taken away, well, you can still invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. I think what they say is they are taking away your rights. Well, you can still invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. You still can do that, but the consequence of invoking it is you will just remain in custody. So if you testify, you get out of custody, and you stay out of custody until you are done. Y'all, can y'all believe this? I mean, that's crazy. This is the way the system's set up. And Lil Woody says, and then if I don't testify, I have to stay in until when? Judge Glanville says until the trial is over, until all the defendants have been heard. I think is what he said. I've got these 6 that we have right now, and then there's another 6. Ms. Hylton said, no, there's another 12. Judge Glanville said there's another 12 or thereabouts that are still outstanding in various forms or another. Now, I have to give Judge Glanville a little bit of credit here. Most of the information we had heard and saw in some of the other affidavits and some of the other motions, it was really making him look like the bad guy and more of the aggressor in this situation. But I mean, clearly he has a lot of responsibility. He never should have called Lil Woody into his chambers, and he really shouldn't have had this meeting in the first place. But it seems like ADA Hylton is really the one that is trying to get Lil Woody on this one. It's crazy. Oh man. Judge Glanville says there's another 12 or thereabouts that are still outstanding in various forms or another. Lil Woody said, can I speak with her for a second? Talking about Kayla. And he says, yeah, sure. So Judge Glanville and everybody, they leave the chambers for 16 minutes. Lil Woody's okay. So they all go back. Lil Woody says, my question is, I can ask you a question. Judge Glanville says, sure you can. Lil Woody says, so my question is, what I was just asking her was, if you ask me a question and you feel and I was lying about it, you will lock me back up? Ms. Hylton says, no. If you something, so you are saying, you say, I didn't talk to this person. Well, no, I can't talk about that because the judge is in here. Okay. He said, you are asking, for example, if you said before that the sky is blue and I asked you on the stand, what color is the sky? And you say, I said it was red. I'm going to say, no, back before you said it was blue. Is that what you're trying to ask me? And Kayla says, so explain the independent evidence. Ooh, I knew this was going to come back up. And this is the thing that we talked with Javier and Bailey before. And I asked them specifically, I said, if I'm Little Woody, and I'm just thinking of it as a regular person, I don't trust or believe this whole immunity thing, because there's too many loopholes. There's too many places where things can come up and be brought up, and either at a federal level, especially, that they can still go back and look into things if they want to. They just can't base it off of your testimony. But if they find evidence, then they find the evidence. So I'm so glad. Shout out to Kayla. She's an amazing attorney from what we've seen so far. And his concern about the independent evidence, I think, is smart on his part. She says, Kayla says, so explain the independent evidence. If he says he did something and you know he's not telling the truth, what happens? Ms. Hylton says, if he says he did something and he did not do that thing, Kayla says, if you believe he did not, so if you believe that he's lying about it. Ms. Hylton says, then no. If he admits to doing something on the stand, Kayla says, and he did not do that thing, she says, then I'm going to say, is this the first time you're saying that? Kayla says, and you have independent evidence to prove it wasn't him, then what? Ms. Hylton says, then nothing. What do you mean? Like, Kayla says, so then he will be fine? Ms. Hylton says, yes, but Kayla says, so you are okay with him if he got on the stand and he said things that weren't true? Ms. Hylton said, no, I want him to tell the truth. What have I always said to you? I want you to tell the truth. I don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. I expect you to tell the truth. If you say something that is inconsistent with what you said before, then I'm going to ask you about the inconsistencies, but I expect you to tell the truth. What you go on the stand and do, I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do. I want you to tell the truth, but I will deal with you not. You're saying something different in the manner that I normally do. Lil Woody says, if I'm saying something different, right? So when the police question me, they done question me every time they lock me up. I don't know how many times that was. I done told them whatever different story I could think of to try and finesse my way out of the situation. I don't recall what I have done told them. Ms. Hylton says, okay, so you can say I don't recall. That is how it works. I don't recall. Ms. Bumpus says, and he can say that to every single question. Ms. Hylton says, I would hope that is not the truth, because I think there are some things you do recall and some things you don't. But the things you do recall, you don't. The things you don't recall, you don't recall. And then I will go through my process of what I do. You can talk to him about what impeachment is. That won't get you locked up. Impeachment will not get you locked up. You can talk to him about what impeachment is. If he says, I don't recall. Lil Woody says, what will get me locked up? Ms. Hylton says, what did I tell you? Oh my gosh, she's getting annoyed. And Lil Woody said, I don't know. It's mad. Oh my gosh. Ms. Hylton says, what you did on Friday, I plead the fifth. If the court instructs you. Lil Woody says, so the thing that gets me locked up is pleading the fifth? Ms. Bumpus says, yes. Ms. Hylton says, the court instructs you. You need to answer the question. You say again, I plead the fifth. Again, that's what's going to get you locked up. But if you answer the question, that will not get you locked up. Lil Woody said, so if you don't want me in jail, why you just don't let me go after the trial is over with? Ms. Hylton said, you are in jail because you're not answering the questions. Yep, that's true. And Judge Glanville says, because you have been given immunity. And Ms. Hylton says, because you have been given immunity. She's like a parrot over there. It's Judge Glanville. Disgusting. You're only in jail because you got up there. And I guess you got up there and pleaded the fifth. Lil Woody says, well, what about this? I answer the questions, you take away immunity, I answer the questions, and I plead the fifth. Ms. Hylton said, no, you can't do that. Lil Woody says, something to question that I feel incriminate me. Ms. Hylton says, but then that's something. Lil Woody says, I won't plead the fifth to things that don't incriminate me. And Judge Glanville says the state can still give you immunity. They can give you immunity to whoever they can give immunity to whoever they want. Okay. And they can make that choice. I don't even make that choice. So if they, like I said earlier, they want your testimony, they figure it's something that the jury needs to hear. Oh, I think this is actually something. It's something that the jury needs to hear what you have to say, good, bad, or indifferent. And what Ms. Hylton is telling you is just tell the truth as you know it and let her worry about the rest. I mean, Even though you may have said different versions of whatever, that's for impeachment. That's not going to get you in trouble. What will get you in trouble is you not answering the question, I'm guessing, is you invoking your Fifth Amendment privileges, or your Fifth Amendment privilege, because you have been given immunity.